90% of people in an automatic car are slowly destroying it. And the scary part? They have no idea it's happening. It's not crashes or abuse. It's tiny everyday habits. The way you stop at a light. The way you park on a hill. The way you start on a cold morning. One mistake can quietly cost you $4,000 at the shop. And by the time the warning light comes on, it's too late. So before your next drive, watch this. Because mistake number 10? Almost everyone does it. Let's get into it. Mistake number 1. Shifting from drive to reverse before fully stopping. Let's start with one you've definitely done. You're pulling into a parking spot, the car is still creeping forward, and you yank it into reverse to back up. Or you're rocking the car out of a tight space, slamming from reverse to drive over and over. Here's the problem. Your transmission has bands and clutches designed to engage when the car is stopped. Shift directions while the vehicle is still moving, and those parts have to fight the momentum of the entire car. It's like grabbing a spinning bike tire with your bare hand to stop it. Do it once, you won't notice. Do it every day for years, and you're wearing down those clutches and inviting a repair bill that starts around $2,000. The fix costs you nothing. Come to a complete stop. Feel the car settle. Then shift. 1 second of patience can add years to your transmission. And speaking of bad habits with that shifter, mistake number 2 is something you might be doing right now without even thinking about it. Mistake number 2. Using park to stop the car and skipping the parking brake. Inside your transmission, there's a tiny piece of metal called the parking pawl. When you shift into park, that little pin drops into a gear to lock your wheels in place. The key word there is tiny. It's about the size of your finger. Now, 2 mistakes happen here. First, some people slip the car into park while it's still rolling, using that pin like a brake. That's brutal. You're slamming a finger-sized piece of metal against the full weight of your car. Second, and this is the big one, most people park on a hill, throw it in park, and never touch the parking brake. So all that weight rests on that one little pin. Over time it wears, it bends, and one day your car rolls into the neighbor's mailbox. Here's the right order, every time. Full stop. Press the brake. Pull the parking brake. Then shift into park. And when you leave, release the parking brake last. Do that, and that little pawl never carries a load it was never meant to carry. Coming up in mistake 3, there's a fuel-saving trick your uncle swears by that's actually doing the opposite. Mistake number 3, coasting in neutral to save gas. This is one of the most stubborn myths out there. People throw the car into neutral while coasting down a hill or rolling up to a light, thinking they're saving fuel. Spoiler alert. You're not. Modern automatic cars have something called fuel cutoff. When you lift off the gas and drive and the car is slowing down, the engine actually stops injecting fuel on its own. You're already saving gas. But shift into neutral, and the engine has to idle to stay running, which burns more fuel, not less. And it gets worse. Coasting in neutral cuts the controlled flow of transmission fluid and takes away your ability to accelerate instantly if you need to dodge danger. You lose control and efficiency at the same time. So leave it in drive. Let the car's computer do what it was engineered to do. Your gas mileage and your transmission will both thank you. Now, mistake number 4 is sitting right under your left foot. Literally. Mistake number 4. Riding the brake with your left foot. A lot of drivers, especially folks who learned on a manual, rest their left foot lightly on the brake pedal while they drive. It feels harmless. It feels like you're ready. But it's quietly costing you money on 2 fronts. Even the slightest pressure keeps your brake pads kissing the rotors. That means constant friction, constant heat, and pads that wear out twice as fast. You'll be replacing brakes thousands of miles sooner than you should. But here's what most people miss. When the brakes are dragging, your engine and transmission have to work harder to push the car against that resistance. You're fighting your own car. That extra strain builds heat in the transmission, and heat is the #1 killer of automatics. The fix. Keep your left foot resting flat on the floor or on the dead pedal to the left. 1 foot, 2 pedals. That's how an automatic is meant to be driven. Mistake number 5. Flooring it on a cold engine. You're running late. You jump in the car, fire it up, and immediately mash the gas to get going. We've all done it. But on a cold engine, this is one of the most damaging things you can do. When your car sits overnight, the oil settles into the pan. For the first minute or two after startup, that oil is thick and slow, and it hasn't fully coated the engine's moving parts yet. Same story with your transmission fluid. Everything is cold, thick, and not flowing right. Flooring it in that moment forces metal to grind against metal with barely any protection. Multiply that by every cold morning over a few years, and you get premature engine wear and a transmission that shifts rough. You don't need to idle for 10 minutes like it's 1985. Just start the car, give it about 30 seconds, then drive gently for the first couple of miles. Easy on the gas until the temperature needle starts to climb. That's all it takes. Now mistake number 6. This one's a lie that car dealers have been telling for years, and it's emptying people's bank accounts. Mistake number 6. Believing the lifetime transmission fluid myth. Here's a phrase that should make you nervous. Lifetime transmission fluid. A lot of newer cars are sold with the idea that you never have to change the transmission fluid. Ever. And a lot of owners happily believe it. Let me tell you what lifetime really means. It means the lifetime of the warranty, not the lifetime of your car. Big difference. Transmission fluid does 2 critical jobs. It lubricates all those clutches and gears, and it carries heat away so the transmission doesn't cook itself. Over time, that fluid breaks down. It gets dirty, loses its protective properties, and turns from clean red into a dark, burnt brown that smells like toast. When that happens, the transmission runs hotter and wears faster, and you won't feel a thing until it starts slipping. By then, you're looking at a $3,000 to $5,000 replacement. Do yourself a favor. Have a trusted shop check that fluid. For most cars, getting it serviced somewhere between 60,000 and 100,000 miles is cheap insurance against a massive bill. Mistake number 7. Ignoring the early warning signs. Your transmission almost never fails out of nowhere. It usually warns you for weeks, sometimes months, before it gives up. The problem is, most people ignore those warnings until it's too late. So here's what to watch for. A delay when you shift from park into drive, where the car sits for a second before it grabs. Hard or jerky shifts that feel like a little kick. Slipping, where the engine revs up but the car doesn't accelerate. A burning smell, like scorched toast. Or a check engine light you keep clearing and ignoring. Any one of these is your car waving a red flag. Catch it early, and you're looking at a simple fluid service or a small fix for a couple $100. Ignore it, and that same problem snowballs into a full rebuild for thousands. The lesson is simple. Listen to your car. When something feels different, get it checked. Small problems are cheap. Big ones are not. Now we're heading into the home stretch, and mistake number 8 lives right inside your gas tank. Mistake number 8. Always driving on a near-empty tank. Be honest. How many times have you driven around with the fuel light glowing, telling yourself you'll fill up tomorrow? This habit is doing real damage, and almost nobody knows why. In most cars, the electric fuel pump sits inside the gas tank, and it uses the surrounding fuel to keep itself cool and lubricated. When you constantly run the tank near empty, that pump is left exposed, running hot, with nothing to cool it down. Over time, it overheats and wears out early. And there's a second problem. All the dirt and sediment in your fuel settles at the bottom of the tank. Run it low, and your pump sucks up that gunk and sends it toward your filter and injectors, clogging the system. A new fuel pump can easily run $600 to $1,000, plus labor. The fix costs nothing but a habit change. Refill when you hit about a quarter tank. Keep fuel in there, and your pump stays cool, clean, and happy. Mistake number 9 happens at the gas pump itself, and you might be doing it every single fill-up. Mistake number 9. Topping off the tank after the pump clicks. You're at the gas station, the pump clicks off, and you decide to squeeze in a little more to round up the price or fill it all the way. That extra squeeze is a mistake. Your car has a system called the EVAP system, with a part called the charcoal canister. Its job is to capture fuel vapors and keep them from polluting the air. It is designed to handle vapor, not liquid gasoline. When you top off after the pump clicks, you can force raw fuel into that canister and the vapor lines. That can damage the canister, trigger a check engine light, and even cause your car to run poorly. Replacing that charcoal canister can cost you a few $100s, all to save a few cents at the pump. So when the pump clicks off, you're done. That click is the tank telling you it's full. Put the nozzle back, and drive away knowing you just dodged a pointless repair. Now let's switch gears, literally, to the part of your car that keeps you comfortable. Mistakes 10 and 11 are all about your air conditioning. Mistake number 10. Blasting the AC to max the instant you start a hot car. It's a brutal summer day, your car has been baking in a parking lot, and the inside feels like an oven. So you jump in, start the engine, and immediately crank the air conditioning to full blast. We've all done it. But it's hard on your AC system, and it's actually slower. When the cabin is superheated, slamming the compressor to maximum forces it to work at full strain right away, while the whole system is hot. That extra stress wears down the compressor, which is the heart and the most expensive part of your AC. There's also a smarter way that cools you faster. First, roll the windows down for 10 to 15 seconds and let that trapped, super hot air escape. Then close the windows, start the AC on a medium setting, and let it ramp up. Once the cabin cools a bit, switch to recirculate to keep the cold air in. You'll cool down quicker and save your compressor from a rough start. A new AC compressor can run well over $1,000, so this little routine pays off. But here's the AC mistake that catches people in the winter. Mistake number 11. Never running the AC in the winter. When the cold months roll in, most people shut the AC off completely and don't touch it for months. Makes sense, right? Who needs cold air in January? But that long break is quietly damaging the system. Your air conditioning relies on refrigerant that carries a special oil to lubricate the seals and the compressor. When the AC sits unused for months, that oil isn't circulating. The seals can dry out, shrink, and start to leak. Then summer comes, you switch it on, and the system is weak or completely dead. The fix is almost laughably easy. Once or twice a month, even in the dead of winter, run your AC for about 10 minutes. You can run it alongside your heater or on defrost. That keeps the refrigerant and oil moving, keeps the seals healthy, and makes sure your AC blows ice cold when you need it. 10 minutes a month versus a $1,000 repair. That's a trade I'll take every time. Alright. We've reached the final mistake, and it's the one that ties so many of these together. Mistake number 12. Using the wrong transmission fluid. We've talked a lot about transmission fluid today, and for good reason. But here's a mistake that's just as dangerous as never changing it. Using the wrong fluid. Not all transmission fluid is the same. Modern automatics are incredibly precise, and each one is engineered for a very specific type of fluid with exact friction properties. Pour in the wrong one, even if the bottle says it's universal or compatible, and you can throw the whole system off. The wrong fluid can cause harsh shifting, slipping, shuddering, and overheating. In some cases, it can ruin a perfectly healthy transmission in a matter of months. People do this trying to save a few dollars on a cheaper bottle, and it ends up costing them everything. So whether you do it yourself or you go to a shop, make sure the exact fluid your manufacturer specifies is what goes in. Check your owner's manual. If a shop can't tell you which fluid they're using, find a better shop. The right fluid is the difference between a transmission that lasts 200,000 miles and one that dies at 90,000.